Hey guys, in this video we are going to improve our template with the addition of base materials that we are going to use for our next exercises. But don't worry, you can download the updated content folder from Gumroad directly into your template or base project. But I wanted to show you how you can create your own material and show you some useful websites where you can download textures for free. So let's get started. So after you download your template update with the materials, I want you to go back into Epic Games. My case is on the C drive, program files, and then go Epic Games, UE 5.3, go into templates like we did before. And I don't know if you remember, we named this basic. So I'm going to open that. And in here, you can extract this or just simply open it and then drag in there. And it's going to ask you if you want to replace the files in the destination. You say yes. And that's it. You got all the files updated for the video. And I'm going to show you how you can, what it's new and why it's useful. But first, I just want to do something in here on media. We're going to change this to images so we don't get confused when we start our Epic Game launcher. So if you go here, for example, on this one, in my case, I can open with an affinity photo, which is what I use. You might use Photoshop or I think the other one is GIMP 2, which is free. So any editing, image editing software that you can use. Okay, so I've got, you can see this is all pixelated. This is just 128 by 128. I'm going to look for a logo for like an Unreal Engine logo. There we go. I can go here on images and I think I'm gonna select maybe this one here. Just copy the image and then paste it here. Let's just resize that. Oh, I thought this was a PNG, but it wasn't, so maybe this image is. Yeah, this one is. Although I think this is the old logo. There's a new one. Anyway, you can get the updated one, I think, from their website. I got it somewhere here, but I'm just gonna use this one, the one from Wikipedia. And I'm going to create a new layer here and add a fill for that layer. So to white. So it doesn't show this one here. In fact, I can even delete it. So for this one, I'm going to just resize that and maybe add a text here. Let's call this my template or my Unreal template. Let's see how I can just resize that. Let's do this here. Okay, maybe I can choose another font for that. Quite like one that is called Impact. So I'm just gonna search for that. Right. Let's see if this opens. Maybe 24. Looks good. Somewhere along those lines. and I'm gonna save that. So let's save it. Say flattened for that case. And let's see if that changed in here. Well, you can see that changed. Okay, now I'm going to open this again. And I've got this view here that I'm going to change. Going to my desktop. I did a screenshot of how it started at level. You can do a quick screenshot by Windows Shift and S and press and then just do screenshots. Or you can use I think Giasso or any of those software to do the screenshot. Let me just bring this in. It's a tiny bit bigger, so I'm gonna just resize this and this here, and probably this right here. Just center a little bit. I can get rid of this background, and I'm going to save that. Okay, I think I don't need to do anything else for that. And now if I go to launch, just let me check if that was changed. Yeah. So it's going to initiate all of that. Let's go to architecture, and you can see here my Unreal template. So it's easy to, to identify this and this, because it was like that. So, and also I changed some parameters here, because if you remember, you came with a starter content, and you might not need a starter content for that case. So for example, in this one, you got the options, and even if you want to enable ray tracing. So I did that for this one, and yeah, it's just blueprint and the quality preset, and if you want starting content or not, and if you want ray tracing. So let's do this, my updated template, and let's see how that looks. So probably this is going to compile some shaders, and I'm going to skip this up. Right, after everything is compiled, I'm just going to show you what has changed. And this video is just based on materials. And in my materials, there is some new functions that I just added. You got the clear code here. You got also the unpack PBR in case you want to bring, textures that are not packed. And I think that's it, unless there was anything on the surface. No, it was on the masters. So now you got a base unpack PBR master material. Let me show you that. So it's just the same as the pack version. It's just using a different, it's splitting the roughness AO and specular and metallic on its own textures. So because that might happen to you, that you don't have your texture packed. There is a clear code as well with this new function here, where you can just change the roughness of that clear code, and it's really helpful when doing some materials and some metal, sorry, and woods that have that clear coat on top of the surface. Especially in Archviz, there are some or many of those furniture or lamps that has that type of finish. So I thought it would be useful to have for the future. Also got the cloth unpacked as well. This is a subsurface cloth. And this will allow us to do like a sheer fabric where it's a little bit of a translucent. And what else? I think that's it. That's just 3 of them. And now you're gonna see more files in here. You still got the develop one. Now you got an emissive one with a spotlight on and off. So I'm gonna show you how this looks. Let's add a sphere and a cube maybe. So you got this screen on, and if you open it, it's just a material with the textures and then an intensity, an emissive tint there. And you can change the color of the as well. And the other one is the one for the lampshades that we did as per the Morehouse exercise. So you also got new fabrics. You got a cloth curtains here that we can even use for a lampshade, like one of those lampshades that has, this is a little bit of a fall off for the emissive light, and we can control that mask in intensity as well. Let's just move this here. And then you can bring it up or down. It's a little bit of fall off. It's nice to have with those type of lamp, like the drum one. Or I even use it for curtains as well. So when you got a window, I think this is a cheap way to just simulate that light is coming through that fabric. Right. We got a sheer cloth that is, don't know if you can see it there, but there's some texture in there, and then you can just play around with the opacity in here. For example, this is the Fresnel opacity. Then you got this subsurface one, and you can increase the opacity. And I set it to two-sided foliage because it's the one that best works for me for this type of fabric. Is like a sheer fabric. That's what we usually call. I will show you this on a curtain, but this is way better than the way we did it on the Morehouse as well. But also it's quite expensive in here, so just bear in mind that. I've got, well, this one you know already. It's just the cloth that we use. It's just a simple cotton. And this one is a velvet. So this velvet, you can change the color here. It's more straightforward if you want to change it to different color and play with the intensity of the what is it called? So I would say like a dirt mask. I don't know how you said in English this type of texture, but yeah, you can see you can play with this around. You don't need to mess with these values unless you want to, don't know, increase or decrease the fall off. But I found that for velvet, this is perfect as it is, because it's what gives me the best velvets. And yeah, so normal there and there. Right. What else do we have new? So remember we used some metal on the other project. So I brought some metals here that we can use that are already set up. And I'm going to add one more as well. So this one is the one like has a clear coat on top. For example, if this is the roughness. Without roughness, it's just like that. 1 to 5, it works fine. So it's a brush metal, just more refined. That's basically it. And then like a mirror as well, and some bronze and metal brass. And this one has a detail texture, which is a dirt. You can always play around with this value just to tweak them as you need. Okay, now plastics, it's quite straightforward. It's just a tint with a roughness value and a specular. You got a stone here. I just added a marble there that we can even change the scale of that if it's too small for that. Okay, so I don't know why that crashed, but it was working fine. And this is a texture for the wall that we can, I mean, if I increase the size of the normal map, you can see it there. And you can change always the tint of your wall as well, depending on what you need. It's just there in case we ever need it. So with that done, what I'm going to do is I'm going to close this. Don't save any of that. And I'm going to go back into my template here, the main folder. And let's open that. Remember, it's on templates, TP-AEC basic, and then here, this file here. And this is going to compile some shaders, so I'm just going to skip this part. Okay, so now I've got open my main template, so TP-AEC basic, and we are going to add some materials on its own. If you go to instance, I see all of our material folders are here. These are all the instances, and these are the masters. So let's go into masters. Let's do just a pack PBR. Let's create a material instance here. And we can call this MI base pack PBR, and we can move these into the instance folder there. And we're going to do the same for this one, the unpacked version, just in case we need it in the future. And this is called MI base unpacked version. And then go into instance, move there. You can do the same for cloth and all these ones here, but let's just start with these two. So now they are there, and in case we need to bring or create more materials, we are going to just use these two just for the sake of the video. Now I know that something is missing here. For example, leather. We use a leather on our last project. So let's create a folder called leather and give a color to that. Right, I'm going to use a pack version. I think I'm gonna be fine. I'm gonna duplicate that. Let's call this MI leather fine. And why am I duplicating this? That is because I want this to be its own instance. If I do an instance of this, and if I ever change this material here, it's going to mess up with my other instance. So I don't want this to be a child of this instance. I want to be a child of the mass material. Now let's drag that into leather. And we're gonna need some textures. So if you go here let's create another folder called leathers and set the color to red. So if you remember, there is a leather on our textures here. So fine leather, this is the normal and this is the roughness. Okay, now let's drag these two in there. I think I can open this and see it's all right. Everything looks fine. So let's go back to leathers, but you can create a content browser here and then just work with tabs. And I'm going to open this leather, fine. I'm going to enable base tint and use texture map. I want to add a base color. I want to add the tiling as well. I don't need any, well, I might need to change saturation, brightness, contrast, just in case it's needed in the future. And I want to add the normal texture as well. Play with its intensity and set the roughness. Maybe specular as well. I don't need any metallic for that. So go into textures, leather, move this one into the normal, the leather fine, and this one can go, oh, sorry, I'm not using this texture map here. Now remember, I used this for the roughness actually. And this one here. And then the roughness bias. So if we bring a cube here, let's save this. Let's bring this up and then type it there. So you got some leather there. If we want to change the color to maybe like an orange one, we can always do that. Let's do. So that type of leather, there's a little bit of saturation and you are ready to go. You can also use the AO. So it's going to use that same, this same map, texture map. And let's see how that works. We need to enable static, I think it's static lightness. So this one here, and like you see, disable allows material AO and material bend normal to work with lumen global illumination. So we are going to just do this and then restart. I'm gonna save all, and let's see how that affects our material. By the way, this is totally optional, so if you don't want to mess around with ambient occlusion, you can just leave it as it is and let Unreal take care of the occlusion on with lumen. So it's compiling some shaders again, and let's see how this starts. Okay, now let's see how, look at that, there is ambient occlusion already there. Let's see. As you can see here, it goes dark, it goes lighter. So I think it was like that before. And now it's a little bit, it was like this. So it's totally optional, but I think with a little bit of control on ambient occlusion, you can also have some more, I mean, make it a little bit more interesting. So if you don't want any ambient occlusion, don't untick that. Allow static lighting. So I'm just gonna leave it like that, maybe 1.5, and it looks really good. And if I want to have a black leather, I can just duplicate leather, fine. Let's call this black, maybe. Let's add that in, and then do a maybe 0.04, and you got some black leather in there ready to be used. Okay, so we added our leathers, and now we can add a wood folder for that. So woods, and I'm going to use a packed version again, and let's call these MI wood. I think it was oak. Yeah, I can call that oak. Forgive me if I'm wrong. I don't remember if, yeah, it was an oak here. Set color to green. Let's open that. Then on the textures, let's create another folder called woods, and then set the color to red. Let's open that in and drag from our Morehouse project. Let's drag that in and import it as a what's called virtual texture, and I don't want that, so delete it. Let's go to project settings, virtual, enable virtual texture on texture import. No, I don't want that. Thank you very much. Not for now. In the future, we are going to use virtual textures, of course, but not for this case. So I'm going to, let me see if that works, or do I need to restart that? Yeah, okay, it's working now. Otherwise, the material, these textures won't work on the materials because they are not set as a virtual texture, as to allow virtual textures on these materials. So let's get back to wood, open these up. Let's go back again to woods here, then base tint, texture map, tint variation, yeah, base control as well, the tiling. I need the normal as well with its intensity and roughness in case I need it. And maybe ambient occlusion as well. But this one is packed. So let's do this, and we can start just bringing this up here. I can bring this one here, and I can bring my color there. So let's see how this looks, for example, on here. Wood, oak. There you go. So let's see how that looks without any. I think it looks fine, actually. So let's set that to 1 and 1, 0, 50. Always play with big numbers just so you can see what is happening to your material. It's always good to just play around with values until you get one that is good for you. Or you can just not use that. Okay, roughness bias is, as you can see, it goes to more reflective and then less reflective. We can leave this as a maybe 0.5. It depends on the type of wood we're going to use. And then tint, I can just give it a little bit of more tint to that. Maybe a little bit darker. And let's see this. Yeah, there has some more saturation to it, and we can even increase saturation here and the contrast as well, or its brightness. So it's there for us to just start any project, and then let's save that. We can even increase the size of it or make it way smaller. So let's leave it as 1 by 1. And we got some wood there. You can even have white wood if you want. For example, if I duplicate this, it's oak white. And then let's just turn this white. But it's not gonna do anything for us there. Just gonna show you. So you can see no difference there. So I need to decrease the contrast there. Or simply don't use a texture map and play just with the value on your normal. Let's see, 50, just so you can see what it's doing there. Same principle we use with the leather. So I can leave that. But I prefer to just play around with my contrast, and then until I get something that is the value I want, and the saturation as well. Turn it just the other way around. So if you want, for example, black, that one, it's going to do that. So that's pure black and not what we need. So in that case, I prefer to just play with sometimes with the brightness here, and then bring that to those values there. Maybe not too much. 0, 0, 3 maybe. And you can make it even darker with the contrast as well. So you know now how to do a white one and a black one as well. So I'm going to leave just a white one. Okay, now what else do we need here? I think we are good enough with our fabrics, mix of material, the leathers, the plastics, the stone. Yeah, I think we are cool with that. Maybe on the metals we might use a, let's say, stainless steel. Let's call this S steel. Let's apply that there and then open our material. And I'm going to give a color here of, I think, 0.7, 0.7, and was it 0.7? No. It was something along those lines. Yeah, I think it was something like that. And if I don't want any clear code, I just set that value to 1. This to 0 as well. So you got the option there to play around if you want clear code on your stainless steel or not. And let's save that. So got the bronze here. Don't think I need to do anything with that. The brass. This is a little bit like a brass as well. So maybe a little bit darker, but I can always just, for example, if I want to set this as brass, brush brass, CC, just so we know, I can add that in and open this, then shift right click to copy, or just right click copy, and then paste here. And this is more like the value for brass. I think I saw it somewhere. If it's not here, I think I saw it somewhere in a sheet with the RGB colors for brass. That is the closest thing to brass. So we can save that and leave it there. So brush brass, stainless steel, mirror. And for example, if you want to do a mirror that is, it has some, it's like an antique mirror. Let's see how we can do that. If I go here to textures, I got masks. No, dirt mask. Let's see how this works. So you got there some mirror. Let's see how this looks on our roughness as well. Okay. So you can also add it to your roughness or decide not to have it. It's up to you. And you can just play around with the contrast again to just disappear, to show more or less of that mirror there. So you got some antique mirror or age mirror as well. That looks ugly there. It's lumen, and I don't have my post-process volume crank up, so that's fine. But yeah, you can see you can make a simple antique mirror with just adding a dearth to it. And that's happens. I mean, you can add this to your roughness or your materials to just add a little bit more detail to it. Okay, now we can jump into some websites that I found for you that I also use for some textures and see how this applies to this for the way the materials are set. So I've got Polyhaven. You might know it for HDRIs. It's great HDRIs that you can find there. It's my website to go for HDRIs, and I also support them as well. So I love Polyhaven since ages, and they also have some textures here. And if you want to add, for example, let's say you want to add this wood floor here. So they show you where did they get that. And let's download this. You can download 2K or 4K, depends what you need, but well, it's a lot, but let's do the 4K. And I'm going to bring into my desktop. So pretty much all the texture on Polyhaven is going to be like this. And this, I think, is the packed version. So let's open that and see how that looks. Got my wood floor here. Extract to wood floor. Okay, so got our textures here. Displacement. This is the roughness. and this is the normal. Let's open, this is the displacement. So I think maybe this is all packed already. This is loading that document there, so it's a normal, and this is the roughness. Okay, let's bring that in and see how that looks. Go into your textures here, wood, and then let's add that in. Okay, now it's preparing some textures, and while it does that, I'm going to go into my content browser, number 2, materials, instances, and then the woods. I'm gonna duplicate this. Let's call this floor. I think it's called wood floor. Well, I'm going to apply it to this here. Let's open this. I'm going to just reset this. I don't need it. That. Now I'm going to bring this here. As you can see, it's big. So we need to tile this a little bit. 4. Let's check with our mannequin. It's too big still. So maybe 8. Yeah, that looks better. Right. Now we got our normal here. So you can, let's see how that looks when it's 50. You can see that it's working fine. Maybe 5 or... yeah, maybe, I think 5 or 2025. 5 looks good. And I've got here my roughness map as well. Let's see how that makes it look. You can see there, if we put it this way, it's going to be fully reflective. If not, I think this about 0.4 looks pretty neat. And also there is a displacement mat, and let's see if this works fine. But first I'm going to save all just in case it crashed. I'm going to use displacement here and set. Let's see if that maps is working with this. Yeah, I don't see this working properly. So sorry about that. I just got confused why this wasn't working. And that is because my plane here, it was without nanite. So to that displacement to work, we need to just go in here and then select this nanite enable, and that is going to work there. As you can see, now we need to do some tweakings to that. Some tweaks, all right. Let's see the magnitude. So that goes up. This goes down there. So I think it's too much there too. Some are better than others. We might even, I mean, let's see how this looks when we apply this into our cube. I'm going to enable nanite just for this one and look for this table, this one here. So still, I mean, there's some when I go close, it gives that shading error there. So it's just a matter of setting these values properly. Let's see, 0.01. I'm still doing that. So this one is a little bit better, but I think displacement is better used for when we do have some rocks and like a landscape. That is better case to use, because with the normal already we got some nice mapping there. So this will be enough for this. I mean, for example, wood flooring. But if I want to add some like rocks and that type of surface, grounds, yeah, that will work fine. And let's do an example with us, just so you can see it and not hear me just theorizing if it works better or not. Let's just try that. Let's just save all of this. But at least you know how to do the wood floor. And also you can add some detail texture if you need. For example, here I'm going to add some dirt to it. Let's look for dirt mask. I don't need any of this open. And I can set the intensity. I mean, look at this. So you got some dirt there, and then you can just work with the tiling in your detail. Let's see where that is. Detail tint, detail intensity. Okay, use waterline. This one was enabled, so no, I don't want to use that. And this is my tiling. So in case you need waterline texture, you can always click or untick. Click on tick or untick that. So let's do 0.5, and then you see there's some dirt in our floor. If you ever need to just add more variation to your texture, you got it there. And that happens the same with normal. If you want to add more normal to it, another detail normal as well, you can add that in there. Or if you want to add another detail roughness for that, you can also do that as well. Again, I'm gonna use that detail texture. I'm gonna leave it like that. And I think it's still a little bit dark. There, 8. No, I think it looks fine. Don't think this is working. Oh, it is. So I need to just set this back to 0 and maybe clear this up. Or let's just put it back to where it was. Okay. Now we can look into more textures and see that example I was going to tell you about. So let's look for stone, and let's go back to here. So yeah, you know how to download them from Polyhaven. This one is amazing. AmbientCG, if you can support them. This guy Leonard he provides amazing textures, and all of them are for free, so you can just download them. Let's see this one here. Yeah, let's do this one here. 4K. Let's do 2K just. Oh no, 4K because we are going to use displacement on that. Basically, I pretty much use 2K unless it's a big asset that I know that my character is going to be close to it. But otherwise, 2K pretty much always works for me. So let me go in here. This is rock. Do the same thing. And now you got more maps in here. So let's see what we can bring in. Let's go into stone or landscape if you want to create another folder. So we got ambient occlusion, my color, the displacement, metalness. I don't think we're gonna use. We're gonna use DX for direct S and the roughness. Something is always nice to do is to set the name to T for texture and then the name of the file, and then maybe 4K you can leave that in, but for example here set as AO. I can copy, paste, and then BC for base color. I think, don't know if it was DSP or DISP for displacement, or hide. I think you can use hide map. I think that's what they call it, but let's leave it as displacement. This one you can set normal to N and this one to R. We don't need the metalness for that one, so AO, this, normal, this normal and this roughness. So I'm going to add all of that in. Okay, now I'm going to go for another material, but in this case, I'm going to use an unpacked one. Let's duplicate this and this called stone landscape maybe. I'm gonna add a plane here, then increase the size. Just add it like that. I think it should be fine then. Where we can add that in. I'm going to open this and set to nanite. It's enabled, so all good. All good on that. And then I can go back to content browser, open this up, add my texture map. It's this base color here. So you can see it's already there. The tiling, we might even want to play with this, or let's just use waterline texture, see how that works. 512, 500, I would say. Okay, displacement. Let's see if this works now. I saw something, but let's just jump into normal. Got normal there, and then my roughness. And I think ambient occlusion as well. So you can see, now I got two different maps. I got one for roughness and one for ambient occlusion. So I'm gonna just bring ambient occlusion here, and for my roughness, the one with the R. Now I can play with those values too. So let's see. We got some stone there with a displacement applied to it. I think I can just move these up because this is a little bit like it's raining. It's more about 0.6566. Okay, now let's play with the intensity of my ambient occlusion. Is more or less. Like that. Nah, that's too much. Just play with something along those lines there. And then, I mean, we can play with our normal as well. We can add more texture to it. Just type 5. And then here, let's see how displacement works on this particular case. So I can just bring it back. See here, all this displacement working. You just pull it back there, give it more depth. And then even bigger or less depth. So it looks really nice. I mean, even if you go really close, it looks really nice to work with it, instead of having like a big Megascan. I mean, a big rock from Megascan with millions of polygons. You can always use displacement and go on. It's a little bit on the cheaper side. So yeah, that's it for this particular material and the website. Again, if you can support this guy, I mean, he provides amazing materials, and I just recently found this website. I didn't know that existed like weeks ago, and when I got into it, I thought like, wow, this is really amazing. Some of the HDR as well, and the materials. So always, I mean, if it helps you professionally, then I think it's worth just supporting him to keep doing this amazing work. Many of you know 3D Sky, or if you don't, it's I think it's a Russian, or started as a Russian and now it's international, but you can download all type of models for free, and you got a pro version as well, but each pro is like $7, I think. But if you go to textures, let's see if we what can we, let's do a leather, see how those leathers looks. So got pro version, these are the ones that you need to pay. You can do free and even look for manufacturer. There is no manufacturer here. So snake skin, seamless leather. What type of leather? What should we do? Let's do like a snake one. Have no idea how this is gonna play out, but let's download that. So as you can see, there's just numbers. I'm gonna call this snake pattern leather. Okay, with that downloaded, I can just go. Is that downloaded? No, not yet. Where are you? Oh, it's this one here. I use 7-zip, so I can just drag that here. Let's see how this comes. Okay, got some bump. That's what you use on like 3ds Max. Let's see this Cobra Clay. So Affenberg, Cobra Clay. So I've got here just two files, a bump, which is basically our normal, and I've got just the leather one. So you can do different things. I use sometimes Pixplant. It's paid, but I think you pay just $20 just once, and it's yours for life, and it's Portuguese, so I'm happy to support it as well. And in here I can just pick this. Actually, I'm gonna just change the name to this. Let's call T Cobra pattern or Cobra leather, something like that. And I go to Pixplant and I drop it here. I see that it's not that great, the seams. Let's see if we can improve that. So filing thing, let's it's not that great either. Let's see, maybe I just need to that bit there, that bit there. Did I? Oh, that's why. So just that side there. I mean, just quickly, probably I will refine this, but that's the thing. Sometimes you find good textures, sometimes you don't find good textures. And let's delete that. Let's see if we can make it work. No, I think there's too much repetition and I wouldn't be happy with that. But okay, so I was mentioning that you got this software to do the tiling, and it's really good for, let me just pull this back, for doing tiling and extracting the roughness and normal and displacement as well. And let's see, it's a little bit better. Yeah, there's something here is just annoying me, and I just use this sometimes just for the, this is better, just to extract the normal here, base color, and then I can extract the roughness as well. I'm just doing this quickly, so if you want a tutorial on this, I mean, there are many on the internet from their website, their YouTube channel, but I can do one when I get more time to discuss this. So AO, do I need AO? Maybe just do a quick one and then export this. So preset, let's see how this Unreal works. So got normal. So T Cobra leather, and this is going to be BC AORM, ambient occlusion, roughness, and metallic, and then N, and I'm going to export on that. The other way is, I think, is it this one? No, this is, I used to have a, what is this called? It was from Nvidia, and it's not G4 Experience. I thought I had it installed in this computer, but certainly I don't have it. But if we look online, there is a, what is it called? Nvidia, this one here. This texture tools exports, so you can always, I mean, you can download it as a Photoshop plugin, or you can do it as a standalone. You will need an account to log in. Okay, let me just jump this and I'll go back when it's installed. Okay, so with this installed already, I can just bring my Cobra leather there and then go into, it's called color map. I use tangent space. Let me open this for you just so you can see all of that. I mean, you can change some levels here and even invert if it's needed, where it has been some time since last time I used this, but I've averaged, that's fine. Height set to, and you can invert X and Y here. I think I do that for Unreal sometimes, and then export this, save as, where was it? Desktop, snake, T cover leather. Let's put this N and then as a PNG. And you can also set as a grayscale, so you can play around with, not the level, it was, oh, where is the intensity? Is it, well, this is a little bit like a Photoshop, you just add effects, but I don't see where this is for the alpha. Then, nah, this is, probably I need to just play with these these three values, the RGB, just to tweak the values of my roughness. So I'm gonna remove that and then just save it like that. Save as. Roughness PNG. Something is, I mean, I recommend you is to change the dimensions to 1024 at least, or I mean on factor of 2. I forgot to do that, and actually I think I can do that here. So let's see if I can export that of the power of 2, just so Unreal can optimize this. Let's just do it as that. See if change anything. Yeah, in this case it did. Look at that, 1024. It's way better to work like that rather than having to just go to Photoshop and change the size, the dimension of the texture. So after that long time working on this, I'm gonna just bring it in, gonna add it into this. And for the leathers, I think we can use this one, duplicate. Then I'm using a texture map. Let's see, where is my leather? So base color here. The normal and my... So this is the leather I brought from Pixplant. So still there is some annoying tiling not well done. So this is not my best work, but I just pick a random texture. And now let's see how that looks with the other one. Is it this one? Yeah, roughness. And then this way darker. So some values here that I need to just play around with. Maybe, of course, I'm using for ambient occlusion that because I set my mask as it's packed, so it's picking also from this texture. That's why it was giving me that. So I can set this back to 1. And the roughness doesn't look that great, so I'm just gonna increase that. So this is the way you can add more, materials to your project, to your base template. And the same happened with, 3D skies. You got substance source as well. I've got many assets. This was when I used to use Substance Painter, but now I no longer use, sorry. But I still got many points that I can just download some assets here. So let's see, all assets. Where was it? Some materials here. And there are some free as well. You can always download here free assets. So if you download one of these, for example, you go download SBS AR and install this Substance player. I can open a file and it's going to be on my desktop. You can set this to 2K. Even change the, where is that? So plane here, if you want to use just a plane, then export as bitmap. Format PNG is fine. TGA is going to be too much for this, and then call this T pages. I don't need this. I need my normal. I don't need this. The glossiness, I don't need that. Metallic, I don't need. For this case, I don't need that. hide. I think it means for displacement, but not gonna use that. And then export that. Cannot save. Ignore. Okay, why this is not 22. Ah, strange. Ah, because I didn't select the directory. That's why. So another software is this one. Another page is this one. Also from a Portuguese, João, it's called. He has some nice texture here. Some materials that you can download as a substance. Same principle. I think you can download this. I mean, you can download this direct from here. Download all the maps, and as you can see, the material is this, and then has the textures there. Again, if it works for you as professionally, just always try to help them and support what they do. This is another one, SketchUp textures. You need to log in as well, and there are some textures here that you can use, but just bear in mind always the size of it. You might need to crop this to 4096 by 4096. So just be mindful when the textures, although they can be seamless, it's always better to work with square textures. And this one you might know from the Blender Guru. He also has a website with lots of textures. There are some free as well that you can use and download. And yeah, you can set the metalness to, workflow to metalness, and then set a just bump ID map. Yeah, displacement, don't need a bump. Normals and metalness, roughness, ambient occlusion, displacement. Yeah, and you can download like this, and then it's a zip file. So again, same principle. What we download some. I mean, let's say it's stone. The book page here, and you can just drag that in, apply to this. This is my ambient occlusion, so I'm gonna need a mask for that, and I'm going to change this to unpack, so it's a quicker way to just change your parent here. It's going to prepare the shaders, but it is there in case you don't want to just change to duplicate the material. So ambient occlusion, roughness, my normal, and my base color. So this is the book page one. Right, and the one we just download from, what is it called, from Poliigon, it is bricks, this one here. So got all of this for me. Then let's bring that in. I work more organized than this, but it's just trying not to make the video that long. So I'm gonna open this, and I'm going to set this one to, so this is displacement, metalness, page side, long thing running, roughness. Okay, I think I didn't download one. This is just the ID map. Sorry about that. I should have the diffuse, of course. Yeah. Yeah. Extract this here. And then bring the diffuse to my project. Okay, now we can add this diffuse here. Then this is the displacement that we're gonna add here. Yes, that's since that is in there, and then we can add my normal. And then the roughness map, which is, this is AO, and then displacement, and then roughness. Okay, I think we can just set this back to this value here. I think I'm running. You can exaggerate a little bit like that. Yeah, so it looks all right. And I think that's it for this video. Don't worry, I'm going to leave all these links in the description for you to have a look and try yourself. And this is not going to be all with these materials here. I'm going to clean this up, and you can just copy paste into your folder and follow what I just did with the woods and adding the leather as well. Not this leather though, the other one. And yeah, I just wanted to, sorry if this took a long time, but I prefer you just to get familiar with the way the materials is set. If you want to create your own master material, you can just right click, select material, this my material, whatever you want to call it. And then you can just bring functions here that will work the same as the one that you got already. For example, the base color here, if I open that, it already has all those parameters, the contrast, the detail texture, and the texture coordinates with waterline added in. So it's there for you, and you just need to do this. And if you want packed or unpacked, it depends. You can add unpacked here and just join this roughness, ambient occlusion here, and this goes as well here, this connection. So it's way better to work with functions that are already there for you to start any material. I think that's the best way, and that's what is going to save you time down the line instead of creating materials every time you start a new project. So I hope that this video was helpful, and see you in the next video, which we are going to do I think a small room and put in practice all of these materials. We're going to do videos progressively, so we start with materials, the basic of lighting, we do some exercise on that, and then we jump into interactivity and creating a sort of like a video game for clients to play around in Unreal. So hope to see you soon. Take care, keep creative, and see you on the next time. Take care.